Hi, I'm Phil,
And I'm Celeste.
and we are retiring on 2K, exploring our options. So we're coming to you today from inside of our complex here, our apartment complex in Franklin, Tennessee. It's a beautiful evening here, and we're just wanting to share with you some things that we've been thinking about. So when we first started this process, we were thinking about, going back to the Northwest where we were from and buying an acre, and the thought of building our own home.
Or buying something that we needed, that we could renovate easily, the two of us. And that sounded kind of fun. We love the climate where we lived, and we love the people there. So that was our first choice, and we spent about 4 months actually looking for affordable property there.
Yes, we were initially wanting to, like I mentioned, buy an acre and then build my own home. My brother John and I, we framed houses together as teenagers for a contractor in our father's church who went to my dad's church. And so we learned how to frame houses, how to build homes. And so that was one option. And so, but
we didn't tell him our first option.
Oh, what was our first option? That's a good question.
Sailing around the world.
Oh, we bought a sailboat. Yeah, we got a 22-foot sailboat. We were going to just learn how to sail with that boat, and then thought about the possibility of, sailing around and living a few years of our life in different parts of the world on a sailboat.
And we loved having our sailboat. We
Yes.
painted the bottom and cleaned it up and spent a whole summer out on Percy Priest Lake in Nashville. But when we encountered some difficulties, like when our boat heeled over to where we almost both went in the water, we realized that there's a lot more to sailing than what we thought about. If we do that on Percy Priest, what would happen if we were out in the ocean?
Yes, but what happened was we had a gust of wind come up about 18 knots, and we had full sails up, and we were not didn't have our sails partially in. What do they call that? Reefed. Didn't have our sails reefed.
Reef the main!
But when we started heeling way over, like we were going to capsize, and of course,
we were perpendicular. Like our sail was here and the water was here.
Yeah, and our sailboat had a keel that actually you can put it down and bring it up if you're in shallower water. But our keel was down, and we were thankful. But I remembered during that, in the throes of that panic, I remembered the lesson that they shared with us at one of the sailing classes is release your main sheet and let the sail move out and the wind leave the sail. So that's what we did, and we popped right up. We got flies around here. We popped right up, and so we were fine. So sailing was one thing that we looked at. And
wait. We called that our Dear Lord Jesus moment.
Oh, yeah.
We both cried out at the same time, Dear Lord Jesus.
Yeah, and God heard our prayers, because here we are. But anyway, so then the next thing that we moved on to.
That was when we were looking at property then. We thought, well, let's sell the boat. So we sold the boat quite quickly.
Had it about a year.
Grateful that we were able to sell it so quickly because it was such a great boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were looking at the property in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And we really looked hard. We had friends looking for us for about 3 or 4 months, and it just did not seem like something that was accessible to us at this point.
Right.
And so we started looking at other options, and that was when we started riding our bikes too.
Yeah, started riding our bikes after our car was totaled in Nashville last January. And in this climate, you can ride your bike quite almost the whole year long. But anyway, then we began to look at the possibility of moving to cultures where the American dollar has more value. And so Mexico was one of those. More recently, we've looked at Portugal. We know that some people enjoy Spain. So we've been looking at some of those, but we did go to Mexico. You've seen our video on Rosarito Beach, and our friends Don and Sandy Godwin, who pastor a Foursquare church there in Rosarito, Mexico, and we loved it. We had a great time. We are still looking towards Hualtuco, which is down south in the state of Oaxaca, and just north of Guatemala on the Pacific Ocean. Another great place. We have good friends. They have a YouTube channel called Retire in Mexico. That would be Cindy and Fred. and you will enjoy them. They love the Lord. They're great people. And there's a lot of Christians, a lot of believers moving to Hualtuco area, and it's pretty awesome. And the rent rates and all that down there are still very low, and you can live, we're retiring on 2K, and you can still live a great life down there on that, plus put money away every month. So as you know, when you go to a foreign country, when you go to Mexico, you have a 6-month visa if you get that, and if you come to the end of that, you still want to be able to have the funds to go back to America, or for us would be to take about 100-mile drive south to Guatemala and then get our passport stamped to come back into Mexico. So that's another option. And now more recently...
Well, I just wanted to say that we do want to check out Hualtuco.
We do.
But we probably won't do that until next spring.
Right.
Our friends, Fred and Cindy, are in the States right now selling their home, and we want to go when there's someone that we know there. And it's a little spendy to fly down there. It's not quite like going to Rosarito. So probably that will be a springtime.
Got the bugs in my hair.
Yeah, that's all right.
But anyway, yeah, so more recently we've been really doing some research on what it is to have, we know there are car dwellers. There are a lot of people in the American culture who are living in their cars. That would not be us. And then we know that there are van culture, people living in vans, so they're getting, vans and fixing them up. But we give both of those, at this point in time, not a possibility for us. But we do get excited about the Class C motorhomes, and they have a bathroom, a bedroom, and all that
and
important things, kitchens and the whole works. And so this is a vehicle that you can actually live in. And so we thought with a Class C, the possibility of getting an acre and going out west and parking our motorhome on that acre while we build a house.
Yes, and Phil has wanted me to see the country with him, like, since we were married. I mean, when we got married, we actually wanted to ride our bikes across the country. Yeah. And then when he started trucking after our kids were grown up, he said, oh, why don't you come on the truck with me and we can see the country.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a year and a half, and I saw every truck stop and every national, treasure, like the Grand Canyon. Oh, there's the Grand Canyon.
As you drive by it.
Yeah, but we can't stop because we're in a big truck. Or, hey, there's Niagara Falls. So that was very disappointing. And so I would like to go and see those places together.
Right.
So the Class C feels like kind of a good option to me.
Right.
But we've never had one, and we've never traveled in one. We've been in a big truck.
Right.
So I would have some stipulations, like we would have to stop. We couldn't just drive like you like to do as a trucker.
That's true. Now, for us as well, we have destinations, since we did truck, and Celeste deserves a Medal of Honor for riding with me on a truck for a year and a half. And but yeah, there's just, you don't see anything, you're trucking, and those of you who have been truckers and those of you who are truckers' wives and you've been on the road, you know what we're talking about. It's just a job, and gets old. But anyway, we would love to go to the Northeast in a motorhome and see the changing of the seasons up there in the Northeast. We would love to go to Canada. We have friends on the east side of Canada who are business associates and brothers and sisters in Christ that we would like to go see and visit, and then tour across southern Canada and come to the West Coast that way. We would love to go up to Alaska and go through the Alcan and see that at certain times of the year that it's good to run up there. But yeah, so we're looking that direction too and checking those out. And of course, motorhome for us would be our only dwelling. There would not be an apartment or anything like that. We would just buy a motorhome and then do whatever we needed to do to make it ready to travel, and then look at the possibility of buying a small vehicle to pull behind it. But that's what we're looking at now.
And we really don't want a Class A because they're too big. You can't park them places. You can't go into like national parks, is that it?
Well, there's spots that you can't get into with a 40-foot motorhome, but that you can with a 24-foot.
Yeah, or maybe 30-foot.
So anyway, that's what we're looking at now. So
Anyway.
Celeste has her dreams, and we all do, and we're just asking the Lord to direct us in that.
So, you know, it's kind of a fun time for us to look at all these different options because we're not constricted by comparing our lives with other people or feeling like we want to get everything that our parents had, like when we were young. You know, you get out on your own and you want to get the house and the 2 cars and all the stuff that your parents had, and now we're kind of like, what do we enjoy, what do we want to do? And it's great to open up that conversation with you guys because honestly, most of us don't have someone to talk with about that because our family and friends want us to have the 2 cars in the garage and stay home during our retirement and be good boys and girls. So we can open up this conversation here. So let us know what you think. What have you looked at any options? What are your options?
Right. And are you looking to your own options, or are you looking at your life in light of what other people think? That can be a bit of a trap for some of us. But as we look at, like for instance, Celeste just started her Social Security. And so that brings us to the point of $2K per month. And so until I'm 66, we can both make $17,640 a year over the top of our benefit. And so these are things that we will continue to do business, some type of business, but we look forward to being able to travel and do a few things.
Is that it?
So that's about it for now here from Middle Tennessee.
Please like our video and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out. Share it with your friends and leave comments. We really want to talk to people about these things. So if you have something to say it and we'll talk back.
Yes, and this YouTube channel is not so we can develop a bunch of income from it. This YouTube channel is something that I'm expanding my abilities with video production, if you want to call it that, and I can use all the help I can get with that. But we're just enjoying putting this out there and seeing what God does with it. And anyway, you guys have a great week, and God bless, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Retire on 2K. Subscribe, like, share.